Alright, we got a new chapter of Dr. Stone. In the last one, they had just invented photography, which I had never really considered as something essential for their journey back to the modern era. And it was also, like it actually had a practical purpose. It's going to help with their mapping out of oil territories. They're going to take photos from the hot air balloon and stuff. but more from like the sentimental side. Really thinking about what it's going to be like at the end of the series if they do some sort of Earthbound-esque photo montage. It just gives me chills to even consider. And thinking about it from an in-universe perspective too, that generations down the line, they're actually going to have these photographic records of the birth of their civilization as they know it. Imagine if we had photographs like that. Imagine if we had photos of caveman standing around making peace signs and smiling after the first time they made bread, after the first time I don't know what's coming next. The first day they launched their major sailing ship, the first day they touched down on a new continent. All of the major, well, not all of the major history, but so much of our major history existed before photography. So much has been lost in its most direct essence and exists only in paintings based on descriptions, based on books, etc., etc. Anyways, we got photography. Now we have The Scent of Black Gold is the name of this next chapter. I have no idea what that means. It's very intriguing. They're doing some aerial photography. We have a cool graphic here of kind of like a square emerging. This is the photo he takes. 10 billion shots before winter. That's, of course, his characteristic hyperbole, but, that's a lot of pictures. I wonder how many pictures people take, like, collectively humanity takes every year. I don't know. I have no idea. Find that black gold slumbering in the earth. Excuse me. So, of course, they gave a pretty conservative timeline earlier that finding oil would take a few years, which is, of course, why Suyuru was so adamant about diversifying their menu a little bit. Excuse me. But I feel like it's not actually going to take that long. I don't know. Senkyu looking distressed. This is a different sort of challenge than any other ones they've encountered so far. Oh, a chestnut. Okay, that's nice. They're finding all sorts of cool stuff. It's autumn again. They've got their grains. Taiju, of course, chief farmer. The butler lady riding around in the Steam Gorilla 2. Wonder became such a staple all over the world. Wheats and all-you-can-eat treat. We see Ginro and Kinro. We haven't seen them in a while. Oh, and a bunch of scarecrows, too. What was there a chapter about the adventure of the scarecrow? That's not trivial. You gotta get the bag. You gotta get the stick. You gotta draw some circles. That's like a chapter. That could be a whole arc. The dirty cop Yo is down. The Taiju's never-ending stamina. The stupid never-ending stamina. I understand why we couldn't do it until we had more people. So that's interesting too. That actually reflects, I think, early human dynamics quite a bit. I don't want to go into a huge tangent because it's a big subject, but I recently read a very interesting article on the origin of laughter and the role that laughter has in social functions and kind of in societal power dynamics. And one of the things it talked about was an idea that I was kind of vaguely aware of, but had never really considered enforced before, which is that if you look at like great ape societies, like the societies of gorillas, chimpanzees, bonobos, so on and so forth, they often work in like a very strict, brutal hierarchy. Where there isn't really much empathy for the lower tiers of people, and there's like one kind of alpha male that just sort of dominates everything. And from all we know of early hunter-gatherer type pre-agriculture societies, they were very flat and egalitarian, and everyone shared alike. No matter if you were weak and couldn't contribute, you were still taken care of by this tribe. So they started wondering if like laughter, and they based this on um, tribes in Africa that still practice very unchanged hunter-gatherer type societies and cultures, and they have these like ritualistic laughing sessions that they use to kind of knock down people's egos and stuff. It's very, very fascinating. It's definitely worth a read. I don't know how to find it easily. I read it on Rational Wiki, if you know that website. They're in the blogosphere section, which just posts interesting articles that have come out recently. That's where I found it. So presumably you could find it there too. Anyways, I lost my train of thought. Why was I bringing this up? Oh, right. So it's kind of interesting thinking about the number of people that would have been in a very early hunter-gathering tribe, where it's like totally flat and level, and then how these dynamics changed when human society started growing larger and larger and larger. And kind of like what made that happen? Did it happen because of agriculture, or like which came first? You know, and then how did power dynamics change once again? That if we at one point had some sort of revolution where we went from a strict hierarchy to an egalitarian society, then what drove us again kind of back to more, but not as strictly hierarchical societies? Sorry, that was a tangent. Anyways, they're farming. They're farming. I don't know. It's just interesting to think about these really early human peoples and how many people were ever together at a time, and how the social dynamics of that worked. Grand opening of Francois, our 3-star restaurant. I don't think we're all the way there. These alone can't power muscles. On this way. It's science at work. Body's like a car, then gasoline is our food. Right? Our food is like gasoline, is what he means. But the way that this is worded, at least in the translation, is he's saying if our body is like a car, if that condition is true, then our food is literally gasoline. So we need to drink gasoline because our cars are kind of like bodies. You know, Senkyu, the smartest guy alive, sure drink a lot of gasoline. We want something easy to prepare and full of protein. Truffles and caviar and foie gras. I've had all of those. They're all very good. But they're not something that I would eat on the regular. Never once heard Francois utter that word. See for yourselves. Black truffle pork rillettes. You really gonna find truffles? You really gonna go start nosing around in the underbush like a piggy? The foremost expert on the animals surrounding. Ah, it's Mika! Oh, this is so fun. So I was thinking earlier when we saw Ginro and Kinro, I was like, man, we haven't seen these guys in a while. Because, you know, there's just so many characters, and characters kind of take the spotlight and then recede from it. But they have such a roster now, you know? And everyone has such a defined personality, and then also just a really defined skill set. So that it makes sense. When they call in Suika to do some animal tracking, we already know who that is. We already know her whole little story. And it's great. It's really exciting. That's good shonen storytelling structuring, to have kind of like a handful of characters. Not a handful as in a small amount. A handful as in like a cards, a hand of cards. You play the characters. This has been Storytelling 101 with your boy Kista. Live in wild boars. Okay, so they've got piggies living with them now. Look at this farming. Let's think here a little bit about the truffles. Ooh, that's some call black gold. Hey, I wonder what else they call black gold. Black fungus. Oh, Kohaku is gonna lose it trying to find truffles growing on the ground from aerial photography. Deed rooted in physical ability. True nature of her skills was honed by years of roughing in the wild, the power of observation. Oh! Oil? Hold on. She did not find truffles, because most of the time truffles are buried under the ground anyways. But the strange, ego-driven quest to try to stay on Suika's level has allowed her to find oil, perhaps. So we might just have done a little sequence breaking here. Yeah, we got it. We got the oil. I wonder how much Suiru is even entitled to. What is his current cash standings? That's the Bubbling Crude, Texas Tea, Black Gold, Oil. Oh, fuss and elbow grease to comb the land. Here we see it bubbling out there, the oil. Set of our black gold. Ah, see, yeah, they're taking the piggies out to look for truffles. Oh, I think that's so cute. I don't know. For some reason, of all the animal-human partnerships, profitable partnerships, I find taking a little pig out to the woods to try to find some very expensive mushrooms to be one of the cutest, one of the most endearing. Truffles taste pretty darn good too. It's kind of worth. It's kind of worth. Truffle scent is similar to the sex hormones of the wild boar. Is that true? Is that why? I thought they just wanted to eat them. I just thought they liked truffles and they were going to try to find them and eat them. Wow, they got both. They got the both black golds. The double black gold chapter. That's pretty hype. Also, yes, the pig just eats it immediately. Why people stop using pigs and boars for dolls? Yeah, there's like better methods. Usually you can get the pig to stop eating before, you know, all the truffles are gone. Some like joke where they try to go find truffles with pigs and the pig just eats a bunch of cigarette butts or something. Does this sound familiar? Was this on like The Simpsons or something? I don't know. Oh, that's smart. You get the dog to smell the truffle and then the dog knows what's up. And ooh, those are some nice ones. You've done well. They've both done well. Damn, man, this discovery's just like 2 discoveries in 1 chapter. Hard to say which one is more important. The most potent, valuable fuel necessary for long sea journeys without relying on weather, or a really, really tasty mushroom. I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's exhausting. For eel. Oh, I think he's just like spluttering out his words. An entire forest for a single puddle without many hints to go on. My brain's kind of all over the place, so I must have missed something. Some hint staring us at the face. Or my hippocampus. Hey, was he even there for the second dialogue that he's remembering, where Francois says that the pigs know how to find truffles? I thought he'd already left. Yeah, whatever. Okay, is this a puzzle we can solve? I don't think so. I don't see some hint staring at us in the face. I mean, the smell of crude oil isn't trivial. Is he going to try to smell it out? Something about the boars? The boars would... I don't know. Something about... Okay, so oil, as we know, is compressed and non... Like, it's the remains of organic waste of dead bodies and stuff and plants and dinosaurs and whatever that have been crushed and preserved. So usually it would be like riverbeds and stuff where things would be able to cover over the corpse before it just kind of turned to bones out in the open air. Of the boars. In 1872, House of Will initially discovered. Wild boars are known for running around the mud. Oh! Oh, Suka and Francois found it, didn't they? So they're gonna have the boars lead them to the oil. Is that a true story? Is that how they found the oil fields in 1872? That's amazing. That a boar came back and it stunk like oil. And they're like, huh? What have you been up to, mister? Okay, that was a fun chapter. They got the truffles. That was a big achievement. I thought they would get truffles and oil, but they're close to the oil. And his... So, alright, so we've been talking a little bit about the Suiru character and how to kind of get him to go along with stuff. Senkyu has come up with a lot of like capitalist scams, I guess I would call them. A long series of schemes and tricks to titillate and trick Suiru into just doing whatever he wants. But eventually, you know, the chickens are going to come home to roost on these. Like when Suiru finds his oil fields and realizes that he's already blowing all of his advance on them. But here, so like what I'm curious about is putting aside the individual characters' motivations and which each character is doing. What is the message of the overall series? Like, what is the message that the mangaka, if any, if there is any sort of message along these lines, is trying to espouse? So here, the moral might actually be that Suiru kept making really unreasonable demands about what he wanted to eat. And then as a result of that, and their fixation on the truffles, they're actually going to find the oil. So is the lesson that even totally superlative, unnecessary luxury desires are all part of the great movement of human desire towards progress, advancement, and discovery? If so, I'm like sort of okay with that. I don't know. It's an interesting idea, isn't it? That even when humans were pursuing things that are like not really a priority, not really smart in terms of bettering the species as a whole, when humans were doing strange things, selfish things, greedy things, eventually that rising tide would lift even the ships of the people that weren't interested or couldn't take advantage of those earlier irrationally motivated goals. Is that true? I don't know. It's worth thinking about. Anyways, more on this later, maybe? I don't know. Probably not. Okay, bye.